Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast, a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today.
Salutations, and thank you for joining us today on GSMC, America's Still Beautiful, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Brooklyn Tanner. Thank you so much for joining us today. You put on your headphones and started listening to the right podcast for positive, uplifting, inspiring, and funny news stories. Thank you so much for joining us. That's right. Today's lineup is really great. We have some stories about how safety is increasing, heroes being rewarded, some really great news about garbage, and lots of more fun stories to come. Today is July 31st, 2020, and does anybody else who likes maybe a certain book series know what today is? Today's July 31st, the fictional character Harry Potter's birthday. That's right. J.K. Rowling wrote that Harry Potter was born on July 31st. The boy who lived. That amazing wizard that kind of changed the literary generation of kids my age. Are you into Harry Potter? Do you like it? I really liked Harry Potter. Growing up as a kid, I thought it was just so much fun to escape to that magical world of Hogwarts and magic and all those delicious foods that just appeared at the flick of a wrist. It's a really fun book series to read. And one of my favorite characters from Harry Potter is the one and only Luna Lovegood. I feel like Luna would be a really good host for this podcast because she's really quirky, but she's always so positive. Seems like she's kind of been through a lot of hard things, and she is a little bit of a social outcast, but I think we can all relate to Luna in a way because we have our own personal interests, things that make us unique, and I love how she just stays positive all the time. She's always got a little smile to share with anybody that's talking to her. She is putting a positive spin on things, even death. She puts a positive spin on. So I really like remembering Luna because she's always got something great to say, and she's really funny too. So do you like Harry Potter? Do you have a favorite character? And if not, what's one of your favorite books? Because I think even fiction books we can learn a lot from because we learn empathy, compassion, and get to live different life experiences through the eyes of characters that we are not, but that we get to experience in a way that is personal and really engaging. So, wow, books are really special that way. Hey, would you like to hear some great stories? I thought so. So our first up today is about earthquake detection. So did you know that seismologists, people that are studying the way the earth shakes and shimmies, are actually just making some more precise discoveries since COVID-19 has reduced the rumble of human activities. So since fewer people are traveling in cities and the Earth's crust is vibrating less because of humans, they're actually able to see a little bit more accurately what's going on. And they're able to, basically, the most beneficial factor of this is that they're able to predict when and how strongly earthquakes are coming in different areas. So usually the vibrations from people and cars and trains and buses traveling around these urban areas so much, they affect the seismometers. did you know about that word seismometer? A seismometer is something that detects shaking in the earth. And so, of course, when we're out there living our lives, driving our cars, dancing on the sidewalk, talking even, it is picked up by these seismometers. These devices are also used to try to detect earthquakes early. So in a series of studies led by researchers at the Royal Observatory of Belgium has shown that in the last few months, the noise has been reduced by up to 50% in urban areas. So with data collected from 268 research stations in 117 countries, the study shows the quiet period began in January in China and then traveled throughout the rest of the world as everyone has started traveling less. So a quotation from the study says, the 2020 seismic noise quiet period is the longest and most prominent global anthropogenic seismic noise reduction on record. That's what the authors say about this period. It's really like so many other things this year, absolutely unprecedented that we would have this significant of a noise reduction in such a quick amount of time and then to last so long. So you may be wondering, why is this significant? Well, the prolonged period of quiet has allowed scientists to do a few things that they are usually unable to do when human activity is at its normal levels. In these highly populated areas, the rumble of humans reduce the effectiveness of the early earthquake detection systems because you can't really tell the difference between the earth shaking because of, the core shaking or if it's humans going around doing their things. So in order to find more accurately the telltale signs of a natural disaster, they need more accurate data. So as populations increase globally, more people become exposed to potential natural and induced geohazards. Urbanization will increase anthropogenic noise in exposed areas, further complicating seismic monitoring. So this is what one of the researchers says, that as there's more noise, it complicates what's going on, right? So the scientists have been able to look at this data and identify what activity causes vibration and how it spreads across a city and how human activity is more involved. And so this wonderful time period is helping seismologists be able to more effectively use the data in the future. So when we kind of move back into a new normal, they'll be able to know to a stronger degree what percent of movement and noise is coming from humans, and then therefore detect even earlier when an earthquake might be coming. So have you yourself ever lived through an earthquake? I actually lived through my very first one a couple months ago, just this year. I live over here in the West, and in my city, we had a 5.3 strength earthquake. Luckily, nobody was critically injured or died. We felt really, really lucky about that. But it was definitely scary. I was sort of waking up at the time, and it jolted me right awake. And at first I thought maybe like a huge airplane was going over my house because it was noisy. But I'm on like the second floor of my building, and the higher up you are, the more intense the shaking is. And so that was just, wow. It was obviously like something I had never experienced before. And the seismologists in my town, they've actually been telling us for over 10 years that we're like, quote, overdue for a huge earthquake. So I think that really freaked us all out that just a couple weeks after this pandemic lockdown started that we got this earthquake. But I'm actually really, really grateful we got it because it really like kicked my family into gear. We were able to build up our, like, just kind of refresh our 72-hour kit and also build up more of our food storage. And these types of experiences are always good because they help us remember what's most important to us, what we want to be spending our time doing during the day, and who we love the most. So I'm grateful for the earthquake. It was freaky at the time, but I'm glad like I lived through something a little bit scary with my family so we can appreciate each other even more. There's always a bright side to those scary moments, right? Well, our next story is about tigers. It's not the biggest story about tigers this year, but it's a wonderful story about how endangered tigers actually are making a comeback in 5 countries. This exciting research is all about how tigers are increasing across 5 countries where the endangered big cat is found. And conservationists, you guessed it, people who are all about conservation of species, have said that the number of wild tigers is on the increase in Bhutan, China, India, Nepal, and Russia. And a decade on from the launch of an ambitious scheme to double the population of the species. So, about 10 years ago, the TX2 initiative was launched when it was estimated that the wild populations of this big cat were at a historic low, with fewer than 3,200 animals remaining on the earth across only 13 countries. So they devised this plan to hopefully double the number of tigers by 2022. And in India, the number of wild tigers in 2018 is estimated to be between 2,600 and 3,300, about 3/4 of the world's population, and more than double of the number in 2006. So it's working. In Nepal, the population of tigers has nearly doubled by 2018, up from 121 and then in 2009 up to 235. And in Nepal, they've increased from just 18 tigers to 87. Wow, so over 4 times as many. The article continues to list countries in which the tigers' numbers have really shot up. And so it's really exciting that these efforts are actually working. So don't forget that. No matter what you might be seeing day to day, overall, your good efforts make a small or a big difference, and it all counts, right? So Becky May at the WWF UK said, 10 years ago, tigers were in such a perilous state that there was a very real risk of them becoming extinct in the wild. From that population low in 2010, they are finally making a remarkable comeback in much of South Asia, Russia, and China, thanks to coordinated and concerted conservation efforts in these countries. This is an achievement that not only offers a future for tigers in the wild, but for the landscapes they inhabit and the communities living alongside this iconic big cat. So there's still only about 4,000 tigers in the wild, and they're unfortunately under threat from poaching, which is illegal. But the WWF has said that the efforts towards conserving the tiger wildlife is working, and as much as we can get the awareness out there, that is always helpful. So, some really good news for such a beautiful species. I'm so glad to hear about it. All right. I'm getting parched, so I think it's time for a little bit of a break, but stick around because in the next segment we hear some updates about some really amazing heroes who are being rewarded for their efforts. Don't go away.
The GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Listen up, y'all, at home and at the mall. I got good news for free, all from GSMC. Okay, obviously I'm not a rapper, but it's true. Welcome back to the GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I don't have any good music for you today, but I have some really excellent stories that you're going to want to hear. This one just really got me straight in the heart. You're going to want to hear about it. It's about a single mom who donated all of her lottery win money anonymously to a wounded policeman, but officers were still able to help her in return. So it seemed that life was finally giving a break to this single mom who was down to her last $7. She was walking out of the grocery store after getting just a couple essentials, and she found a $1 bill in the grocery store parking lot. So she walked back into the store and she bought a lottery ticket, and she actually won $100. So just like that, it seemed like her luck was beginning to turn around. So I think most of us, probably me, would just keep the $100, save it up for something that we really needed, and breathe a sigh of relief, right? But not Shitara Sims. After her 12-year-old daughter, Rakia, urged her to, she decided to donate all of her winnings to a family of a local Kansas City police officer who was wounded in the line of duty. For the Sims family, this desire to pay it forward really was personal, because when Shitara's eldest daughter was killed in 2012, she says the officers were there for her in so many ways to help her get through that terrible tragedy. She says the detectives were really there for us. They were there for us more than anyone I can imagine. They did things they didn't have to. They came to see my kids, and they did a lot. They were fathers, therapists. They stepped in for everything. So she felt like she really wanted to pay it back after that experience. So she didn't want to make a fuss out of her generosity. She called the Kansas City Police Department and made her donation anonymously. She kind of told the officers on the phone her situation, that she'd been dealing with several hardships of her own, including losing her job this year due to COVID-19. So in spite of what she was going through, Shitara felt that the family of the wounded officer needed the $100 more than she did. Whew, talk about a compassionate heart, right? I find that's really true, though. Whoever's been through something difficult, they really can have compassion for somebody else going through something hard as well. So even though the police on the phone tried to convince her to reconsider, she was very insistent on donating the money to the family. And she asked not to leave her name and number. She assumed that that brief phone conversation was probably the end of the story. But it didn't take long until the local police precincts were just abuzz with her story. They were touched by Shitara's kindness and her gratitude and paying it forward in this way. So a group of officers became determined to find and express thanks to Shitara. The Kansas City Police Department Sergeant Jake Becina told CNN, to hear her call and just express thanks for no reason other than she's thankful. It's really impactful for us. So after they finally were able to locate Shitara and get her permission, the police department decided to set up a GoFundMe page to help her family with their financial situation. They called this campaign Helping the Woman with the Heart of Gold. And as a response, they were able to raise for her an overwhelming $145,000. Oh, isn't that amazing? People really like her, and the police officers say that this kind of woman is hard to come by. Someone who's not thinking of herself, but always trying to make the people around her, trying to make those lives better. So, Kansas City resident Chantel Child says, a person that would give a stranger and not eat for herself, she deserves support. It's amazing to see my community come together for this person. It really makes me proud. Oh, that would make you proud, wouldn't it? Of course, to be a part of something that helps somebody else. So last Sunday, Shitara and Rakia visited the wounded officer's colleagues at work, and some were on the scene of the officer who was injured in the line of duty. And in a Facebook post, the department expressed its gratitude for being able to connect with the generous souls. They said it took a while to find them, but they're very glad that they did. Sergeant Jake also said that it's kindness like Shitara's that really keeps police officers serving and protecting even when times are tough. Her gesture may have seemed small at the time, he says, but it ended up touching people's lives in a way that she could never have imagined. Oh, win-win-win, right? A police officer trying to do the right thing, injured in the line of duty, and also police officers and detectives earlier helping out the Sims family during a tragedy. And then from that, she was really touched and wanted to be generous to give back according to her gratitude. And then her community went right back for her and really buoyed her up when she needed it most. So what an inspiring story that is, and just a really good reminder that even though tragic things do happen in our world, there's a lot of really wonderful, compassionate, happy things that can come out afterwards, right? Like this wonderful woman. As we read books and in real life experience things that are difficult, our empathy and our wisdom really increases. And so we're able to help people even better when we've been through something difficult. So this is a really good time in our lives to really kind of reflect on those difficult situations that we have been through and then see how you've gotten stronger from them. Because I can guarantee if you're listening to this podcast right now, you have a great heart and you have hope for good in the world. So thinking of ways that your experiences have made your lives better can be really empowering and make you feel strong enough to go out there and help somebody. So, speaking of helping somebody, have you heard about the amazing story of this heroic boy saving his little sister from a dog attack? It is absolutely incredible. You probably saw it going around on Facebook and Instagram a few weeks ago. But this 6-year-old boy, Bridger Walker, took it upon himself to save his sister. So it was really sweet. So the articles said that Bridger was always so excited when his mother was pregnant with his little sister. He always was really excited. He was excited to get a little sister, and he was always been really helpful in taking good care of her. When she was first born, he held her and just beamed, and he was always asking for a turn to hold her, and he just didn't want to give her up. Now this sister is 3 years old, and recently at a small gathering, Bridger saw that a dog was coming for his little sister to attack her. So in this act of heroism, he quickly stepped in front of his 4-year-old sister. Sorry, the sister's 4 now. He stepped in front of his 4-year-old sister when the German Shepherd was barreling towards them. And this is just way too sweet. He said, "If someone had to get hurt, if someone had to die, I thought it should be me," he told his dad. So after that, Bridger's aunt posted the story to social media after he got home from the hospital and said that Bridger had, basically just taken the brunt of this attack for his sister. She says, "I know it's a long shot, but I'm reaching out to the Avengers and other heroes so that they can learn about this latest addition." And so the really good news is that it didn't take long for this story to go viral, and actress Anne Hathaway spotlighted the Wyoming boy's bravery and attracted more than 1 million likes. She says, "I'm not an Avenger, but I know a superhero when I see one." Oh, so special, right? And so after Anne Hathaway posted it, the Bridger's heroics soon captured the attention of other celebrity superheroes like Chris Evans, who played Captain America, Mark Ruffalo, who played the Hulk, and Hugh Jackman, who played Wolverine. These are all superheroes that Bridger really likes. He loves the Avengers movies, and so hearing from these Avengers was a dream come true. So Nikki Walker, Bridger's aunt, has recorded for Instagram the boy's starstruck reactions to all the personal messages sent by his Hollywood idols. So Bridger started by being fans of these superheroes, right? But now the superheroes are turning around and saying that Bridger is their hero, and they think he is really a really real life superhero. Oh, how special is that? An Iron Man actor, Robert Downey Jr., made a video for Bridger and called him a rock star and promised something special for his next birthday, joking that it would be better than any other of the celebrity gifts. Aha. Sometimes heroes are competitive, huh? A fellow Avenger, Chris Pratt, who was in Guardians of the Galaxy, also has chimed in, praising the Big Brother's action as, quote, true courage. And in a video call with the family, Tom Holland invited Bridger to visit the set of the upcoming Spider-Man 3 movie. This is so special because there's a picture of Bridger talking to Tom Holland on this video call, and he's wearing a zip-up Spider-Man sweatshirt. It's really cute. And his face where he was attacked, it's healing beautifully. And so what wonderful things to come out of this situation. So not only did he get praise from his heroes, the Avengers, the gifts kept on coming, like a guitar from musician Bret Michaels and rock specimens mailed to the family because Bridger loves geology. One of his aunt's photos showed the 6-year-old grinning as he grips a heavy world champion belt sent by the World Boxing Council after the organization declared him, quote, the bravest man on earth. And perhaps the most heartwarming part of all, Chris Evans declared that he was sending an authentic Captain America shield. And as Bridger watched the video, he donned his own Captain America costume with the blue mask partly covering, the stitches that he had. And so he really has his wounds from this, but also now so much praise and applause for being such a hero. I love this special bond between brother and sister, and how fearlessly and without hesitation Bridger was willing to save his sister. I think that this will really bond them for life and be such a special thing that they will share throughout their lives. So Chris Evans said, Bridger, what you did was so brave and so selfless. Your sister is so lucky to have you as his big brother. So the boy smiled and he soaked in the Avengers' praise and had his little sister at his side. On Instagram, the aunt concluded by saying, this week has reminded us in a massive way of the goodness of humanity far outweighs the bad. If the love you have extended towards us were extended to all, the world would certainly be a brighter place. So I think she's totally right. It seems lately, when one little bad thing happens, there's a lot we see afterwards that is good that comes from it. People coming together, praising each other, helping each other, willing to donate money and resources and time and talents, whatever's needed. Communities can really come together to serve each other. And I think that this little boy is lucky to have a sister that he loves so much. And of course, the girl is so lucky to have an older brother that loves her so much that he was willing to risk his life to protect her. And that's something that they'll have forever, right? His scars will heal right up, but they will have this bond and love forever. So we probably won't all have the chance to risk our lives for somebody that we love, but that doesn't mean we can't show our love in ways that are personal to us, right? You definitely have specific and unique talents that are important and that are powerful and that you can use to help somebody else. So maybe think of a way today that you can reach out to your sibling, parent, friend, somebody that you love, and let them know that you love them. All right, really inspiring and sweet stories here, but we have even more coming up. So let's have a little bit of a break. I think I'm going to grab a Kit Kat bar. That sounds good to me. And then stay tuned because the next segment is one you won't want to miss. Some really exciting inventions coming up in Environmental Strides. See you right after the break.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the show, y'all. It's GSMC, America Still Beautiful, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I want to tell you about an incredible all-girl high school team in Afghanistan that has created a mobile ventilator that's going to help here with the COVID-19 efforts. I just love this. It's brain power, it's girl power, it's world power. This incredible robotics team has invented an inexpensive new ventilator model that will help thousands of COVID-19 patients in Afghanistan where there is a lack of machines in such hospitals. So, in the city of Herat, the Afghan robotics team of 7 young girls finished the design of an open source mobile ventilator that costs as little as $700. Now, this is compared to the usual $20,000 that this kind of traditional machine would cost. So this is a huge, amazing leap made to provide these machines for more and more hospitals. The lightweight machine can be powered by batteries and it can run for 10 hours. You go, girls! They were among an esteemed company as their design was partially based on an MIT blueprint, and they received support and guidance from robotics experts at Harvard. How cool is that? They have so much determination and ability to do this that they were ready to take on Harvard experts' advice. Amazing. All right. Here is a great quote from Somaya. She's an 18-year-old member of the robotics team at her school. She says, "We are delighted that we were able to take our first step in the field of medicine and be able to serve people in this area as well. All members of our team feel happy because after months of hard work, we were able to achieve this result." Yes. Can you imagine being their parents? I'm so proud of them, and I don't even know them. So Afghanistan's Minister of Health applauded the innovation and the drive of the young girls and eagerly awaited the device's approval from the World Health Organization. So as soon as this thing gets approved, it can get into those hospitals at that low cost and help people breathe better, especially in a time where we are struggling with a virus that causes a lot of respiratory issues. The Minister of Health goes on to say, we appreciate the initiative and creativity in Afghanistan's health sector. After they are approved, we will use these ventilators and we are determined to contract with companies so we can also export them. So the Afghan girls robotics team amassed international attention when, this is not the first thing they've done. In 2017, they traveled 500 miles from Herat, their city, to the capital of Afghanistan, Kabul, in order to secure visas for the first Global Challenge robotics competition in Washington in the USA. Although they actually had these visas denied for no apparent reason. So after this public outcry caused the U.S. Department of State to reverse the decision, they claimed silver medals for their achievements creating a machine that sorted dirty and from clean water, even though shipment from this part of the design was held up while entering the country. They still took home the silver medal from that. So I love the determination of these girls. I love how they never give up, and I love how they are serving their country and their world, even though there are roadblocks in between. An ambassador to the United Kingdom from Afghanistan says, "We are extremely proud of the wonderful accomplishments of the Afghan all-girl robotics team. They are an excellent example for people around the world of what can be accomplished by young Afghans if given the right support and the opportunity to excel in their education." So I totally agree, and I love that a story like this is popular and visible because it's so important for all people to have the opportunity to be educated well, and especially girls, since they've been denied that opportunity in the past. So to see powerful, smart, wonderful, happy girls in Afghanistan accomplishing something like this, I think it's just amazing. I just want to quickly also say thank you so much for listening to me host this podcast. It's such a joy to join Alyssa Joe on this awesome show and be able to share these amazing stories with you. I love researching and reading them and then sharing them with you, but I know that I'm new to the podcast sector, and so I kind of slip up sometimes, and so thanks for being patient with me on my broadcasting voice, and I hope to get better as we go along to bring you even better content. All right, now, I have to give a disclaimer because the rest of this segment is totally garbage. In the best possible way, because the next two stories are all about good garbage that's being reused in an amazing way. So there is a amazing fashion company in the UK called Volback, and they are repurposing electronic waste into a colorful new watch called Garbage Watch. You have got to Google this because these pictures are amazing. I think I'll stick them on our Instagram too. It is a watch, seriously, from the future, you guys. It's so stylish, and I would not think garbage when I look at it. So they have had launches like the graphene jacket and the squid jacket in the past, and this British apparel maker Volback has been exploring how high-tech materials can help change the face, function, and future of outerwear and leisure apparel. Now, they are here to explore the topic of tech waste, how all those cords, chips, and other parts of tech that gets thrown away could possibly be recycled instead of simply filling the landfills when they reach the end of their initial life cycles. So we've all had our phone just die, it doesn't work anymore, upgrade the TV because there's a newer and better and bigger one coming. But there are parts inside of these machines that could still be recycled and used for good. So the first path it takes to recycle various obsolete parts and pieces are into this colorful and amazing new garbage watch. So Volback kind of frames this issue, and here's what they said. Today, most of the 50 million tons of electronic waste generated every year is treated like garbage, even though it isn't. Instead, it contains many of the world's precious metals like silver, platinum, copper, nickel, cobalt, aluminum, and zinc. In other words, millions of tons of the stuff people normally pay to dig up out of the ground is heading straight back into the ground. That's a really interesting way to put it, is that they say all these precious metals are being used in these products and then essentially thrown away, and then people are looking for it in other places. So even though artsy watches won't save all that waste, the Volback explores how they could be a part of the solution. The garbage watch will help keep various metals and materials from ending up in landfills by using recycled components such as wires and microchips in its design. I'm looking at the watch right now, a picture of it, and it's really amazing. So there's red and orange wires kind of next to each other. There's like 5 wires next to each other, and this makes the band part of the wristwatch. And it just looks like, to me, it looks like delicious pull-apart licorice, and who wouldn't want to wear that, honestly? And then it's a very modern-looking kind of square, and then you see straight into the watch. It's got all these different colored gears, and then 4 different little what are those called? Things that you turn on the sides, and a watch face with 2 different colored hands. All the gears are different colors and sizes. Ooh, it just looks so cool. So they are developing the garbage watch as a part of the Wallpaper magazine's Remade project. This will push the watch from the prototype to production over the next year, sourcing the recycled components, and hopefully they will launch the watch in 2021. So if you're interested in it, you can sign up early on the Garbage Watch waiting list. So I thought that was a really cool story about how people are repurposing old stuff into new. I'm actually wearing a shirt right now that I thrifted. Not that you'll ever see it, but it's one of my favorite bands called America, and it has lots of fun songs. Anyway, it's really fun to find old things and then repurpose it, because even in fashion, that really comes around a lot, is whatever is old is new again. And that's a way to be more sustainable in your purchases, is to buy something used or recycled, and that makes the earth smile a little bit bigger. So I thought that was a really great story about repurposing garbage in a really cool way. Now, talking about how garbage can be fabulous, the Beyond Plastic Awards have happened, people. Forget the Emmys, forget the Grammys. The Beyond Plastic Awards is where it's at. These awards are held for innovative packaging. People invent things and come to compete at the awards. So the winner this year are bags that melt when boiled and another sustainable toothpaste tube. So the 2020 Beyond Plastic Awards looked for new designs to eliminate single-use plastic packaging in our society. Typically a big problem. There's so much more single-use plastic than I ever possibly thought in my life. But reading some of these amazing articles and the ones that Alyssa Jo has reported on has made me realize, wow, there's a lot of single-use plastic in my life. Almost everything that I get comes in a plastic bag, usually after it comes in a cardboard box. When I use a straw, there's a wrapper on there. The straw is plastic, and that's just the beginning of it, right? Ziploc bags for my kids' snacks. There's a lot of plastic. However, this contest was launched by an inventor, entrepreneur, and founder of BeyondPlastic.net. Their name is Ulrich Kritzminski. That's a cool name. And it features 4 categories. Gold, silver, and bronze winners are awarded in each one. Now, here is what Kritzminski says about the awards. The award is directed towards students, designers, engineers, makers, creators, inventors, artists. Everyone who has an idea, concept, prototype, or even a solution already in market, which supports less single-use plastic, is welcome to take part. They really gather people from different sectors to take part in this challenge. It's really cool. So taking the gold in the most innovative solution category is a bag that actually dissolves in boiling water. How genius is that? A guy named Jack Cleary and the waste-based team from the United Kingdom call it the Item Bag 2.0. It belongs to every dry cleaning store in the world. Cleary's goal is to replace the plastic bags that are usually used to transport virtually every clothing item on the planet with bags that biodegrade after their discard. So the Item Bag 2.0 simply dissolves in both salt water and hot water, leaving behind nothing but bio-ink and some non-toxic minerals, which can actually just be safely poured down the drain. That is a huge step up from a plastic bag that will be thrown away, sent to a landfill, and unless it injures a poor little animal on the way, will just sit there and biodegrade for, millions of years. Probably even longer than we'll be on the earth, right? So what a huge, amazing accomplishment this is. So this product is also carbon negative as opposed to carbon neutral. So it means that the production of this process item bag actually removes more carbon from the air than it adds, 100% more. That is seriously an accomplishment. This article also details another winner in the contest, which is a Brazilian team who took the silver in the category of most practical impact for their effort to reduce plastics in the classic toothpaste tube, which cannot be reused at all. So an indispensable and daily used item for all of us, the plastic toothpaste tube received an eco-friendly makeover at these workshops in Cool Paste, which is an academic project developed in 2012 by Alan Gomes from the Federal University of Minas Gerais. I'm sorry, my Brazilian friends are sad about my Portuguese. Who found that there was actually no decrease in the salability of the cardboard box surrounding a toothpaste tube removed entirely. So the cardboard has now become the entire package. This is a really cute picture of the Cool Paste. It's totally a cardboard tube. It looks just like a regular plastic toothpaste tube. And next to it is a wooden toothbrush. This looks very eco-friendly and totally usable, right? So it's made of durable cardboard material that is not only sustainable, but of course, biodegradable. And it hangs on a store shelf with a little tab. I see it. It's got like a little hole in it, just like so like anything else, it can just hang there on the store shelves. And it eliminates the paper and chemical inks required to manufacture the boxes. So it's even sustainable to the cap, which is made of bioesters derived from things like cornstarch, tapioca roots, and sugarcane. So that's a really cool place to start, is when they go for materials that are actually edible. Those are the things that are usually biodegradable. Some super smart people making some amazing strides for the environment. I love that they have these awards because, like the article said, they can really motivate people to create things and use their talents in a way that is helpful for the environment and therefore everybody else. All right, time for just one more break, but stick with us because after the break we have some very fun stories about a musical you might have liked earlier in this year and some great ways to save money going back to school. Stay with us.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now. Don't bother. What's hot on Netflix and everything in between. That's gsmcpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to GSMC, America's Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Thanks again for listening to our show today. We've got a couple fun articles to wrap up at the end of our podcast here. All right. Have you seen Alexander Hamilton? Have you seen Hamilton? It's an amazing musical that was actually produced in 2017 on Broadway. And now the movie has been released early inside Disney Plus, a streaming service that is a subscription service. But the pro shop film of the show, Hamilton, was actually put on there so that people can see it as many times as they want. It was such a surprise for it to come to Disney Plus, and it's really amazing because it's really opened up a lot of new people to learning about history. The musical details the life of Alexander Hamilton. So lots of people love it, and it's exciting for me because as a little theater geek over here, it's fun to see lots of new people come into the theater community and appreciate the art a little bit more. So it's a lot of fun to watch. Now, if you've enjoyed it already, you will have loved the performance of Renee Elise Goldsberry. She plays Angelica, one of the Schuyler sisters. She plays Angelica Schuyler. Now, Lin-Manuel Miranda filled this cast with talented Broadway veterans, a couple newbies, a lot of people that have had lots of experience. So I recently found this article about Renee Elise Goldsberry and a few facts that you may not know about her. So Renee Elise Goldsberry's character, Angelica, is fierce, strong, intelligent, all these amazing things that you want in a role model as a little girl. She's complex and also vibrant, and a lot of the credit for this standout character bringing these incredible characteristics to life goes to the actress Renee. Now, Renee is a very interesting person. I loved reading and learning these things about her, so I hope that you'll find them interesting too. So first of all, she played the final Mimi in Rent. Rent was an extremely popular musical last decade, and Renee already obviously has an impressive Broadway resume prior to joining the Hamilton cast. She has played Nala in The Lion King on Broadway, and she originated the role of Nettie in the original production of The Color Purple on Broadway. Oof, have you read the book, The Color Purple? It's so powerful. And then, of course, this great story was adapted into a musical, and Nettie is my favorite character. Like Angelica, she's strong and opinionated and cares so much for her family. It's really an amazing role. And also she played Mimi in the very final run of Rent. Say that 5 times fast. Run of Rent, Run of Rent, Run of Rent. Goldsberry took over the role in 2008, and she played Mimi until the end of the show on September 7th, 2008. She also appeared as Mimi, the same role, in the live recorded movie of Rent, filmed live on Broadway. So she sat down to talk about her life, career, and much more in this documentary series, and she mentioned how other performers also influenced her version of Mimi, and so it's so special to see her go from not only being an incredible Broadway actress, but then originating roles herself, like Angelica. Now, interestingly enough, the next fact is that Renee almost did not audition for Hamilton. It's hard for me to imagine anyone else playing the original role than Renee Elise Goldsberry, but she almost didn't. She actually shared that she was on a hiatus from acting because when the auditions were popping up, she had just adopted her daughter from Africa, and she wanted to spend time being just a mother. She received an invitation to attend the Hamilton workshop, but wasn't planning on going to it. However, then she listened to a demo of the song Satisfied, and she knew she had to audition. She told Playbill, a very prominent Broadway website, that she was the only one, or at least one of the few, from the original cast who actually auditioned for her role. The others were sent invitations from the creative team because Lin-Manuel Miranda, the creator of the show, was working with them in the past or through a team. So these roles were kind of already cast by Lynn, and she was one of the only ones to actually audition for a part. So it just goes to show that she really is the powerhouse worthy of such an amazing role. All right, another fun fact about her was that she said she really wants to be in the Hamilton movie if there ever is one. Now, from Les Mis to Cats, many musicals have seen movie adaptations. Some are great, some are not. But no, I'm sorry. Many musical movies are really fun because I love when they do movies of musicals because it brings that experience of theater and musicals to maybe people who haven't seen them on stage before, and I think that's a really, really great thing. So it's not really out of the realm of possibilities that Hollywood will try to get its hands on Hamilton. There's actually another movie musical coming out written by Lin-Manuel Miranda called In the Heights. The filming is postponed for the moment, but we know that that's going to be a really fun movie. So maybe someday Hollywood will produce a version of Hamilton. And she said that she wouldn't be opposed to reprising her role as Angelica when the film, if the film comes to be. She said this about it. "Are you kidding me? Are you really asking an actress that? I hope that he makes the movie really quick so I can still play Angelica Schuyler as opposed to her grandmother. But yeah, I would absolutely love to have the great honor of being in every version of Hamilton until the end of time. I would come back from the grave to be in Hamilton." I think that's really sweet, and how fun to hear such passion about the work that you do. Isn't that what we all really dream of, is having a job that we feel that passionate about? You can tell she's passionate about it too because her performance is beautiful. Another fun fact about Renee is that she was nominated for an Emmy multiple times. So a Tony is the award that you get for being a fabulous Broadway actor, but an Emmy is a different kind of award for TV. So she actually appeared on the ABC daytime soap opera One Life to Live. She played Evangeline, a lawyer who eventually fell into a coma, and this earned her 2 daytime Emmy nominations for Outstanding Supporting Actress. So not only is she an incredible singer, but she really has her chops there for acting. And that's what makes her so great. So she is a really great actress, and it was really fun to read these facts about her in this article by Cinema Blend. So the final one listed here is that she identifies with all of her characters. I think this is so important as an actor to find something that you connect with, right, in each character. She says, the article explains how Goldsberry discussed in multiple interviews how she tries to add a little bit of herself in every role. She looks for reasons why people should root for their characters. Those redeeming qualities really help you root for somebody, right? She shared an insight about her characters and specifically her roles in one of her movies. She says, I think there's a lot of me in every character that I do. That's the kind of actress I am. I'm always looking for the part of me that makes this person human and real and makes the person that she played in this role. I love the fact that I have never played so many different sorts of women. I've never found anybody who I don't identify with. So this kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning, right? How stories, fiction or nonfiction, can bring us closer to humanity by giving us a different perspective and really being able to identify what we're feeling in a different way or gain empathy for somebody else. So I hope you enjoyed that little blurb about Renee Elise Goldsberry. I thought it was really cool to learn more about her. Now, we love to bring you news that you love to hear about. So let us know what your interests are and what types of stories you want to hear on the podcast. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and send in your suggestions there in the comments or in a private message. We would absolutely love to hear from you. All right, lastly, I have this great article about how to save money on school supplies during a coronavirus pandemic. This is from a Fox 13 article, and it explains how parents might be anxious and apprehensive for back to school. Some are going all in, completely in person. Some are going all online, and many schools are actually doing a hybrid option where kids go to school some of the time and learn at home for another part of the time. So this article shares some ideas about how you can save money shopping for school supplies. So a mom, Rachel Critch, who runs the blog Couponing with Rachel, says the number one thing you're going to need this year are masks, right? Because a lot of schools are having kids come in person and they're going to require masks. So she says you can buy in bulk on Amazon or mix and match at Old Navy. I actually did check out the masks at Old Navy. They're really cute. They have a lot of really great options for adults and kids. And they have those soft straps on the ears, like we talked about last time on the podcast. So it's a lot more comfortable for kids. And she says, also your neighbor down the street probably makes homemade masks. So I think in general, you'll be able to find a lot of them at a low price. She also says to look for what are called loss leaders and to save cash on common things on the supply list. She says loss leaders are a drastically reduced item that you can buy every week at every store, and there's usually about 5 to 10 of these. For instance, like 25-cent crayons or 5-pack of glue sticks. So you can really search for the best deals at different stores like Target, Walmart, Meijer, Marks, Staples, and even Aldi's. So some other ideas that this article includes is to obviously shop around for the best deals, and also you can even group up with other people in your neighborhood to buy in bulk, and that way you can get something that you're looking for a lower price. And most school boards also have resources for kids that are struggling to find the supplies that they need. So contacting your school board is a great way to also understand where the best way to get the supplies is for a lower price as well. So I hope that all you parents who are sending your kids to school this year are feeling confident about your decision and are staying positive about the situation. I know it's probably not ideal, but teachers do so much for our kids, and hopefully this year will be uplifting and better than ever as your kids stay safe and learn in whatever environment you've chosen for them. So way to go. You are an awesome human, whether you're a parent or not. Just know that we think that you're awesome here at GSMC. Especially grateful for you listening. All right, guess what? I have a little bit of a bonus news for you. This is a video. I just wanted to share about a video I saw online. It is so sweet. So it is this girl who actually struggles with an autoimmune disease that causes her hair to fall out. So she is having her boyfriend shave her head for her. So she's like in front of a mirror and she's recording this just, I guess, to have some memory of it. So her boyfriend has clippers and he's shaving her head for her. He's very gentle and sweet and he shaves it all off. And she's kind of getting emotional about it. And the second he's done like shaving the last part of her hair off, he immediately takes the clippers and doesn't even turn them off. He just starts shaving off his own hair. And it's a really sweet gesture of solidarity, kind of, just to say, hey, I'm with you, I love you, and I support you. She gets really emotional. It's really sweet. We will share it on our Instagram stories so you can see the sweet video. So I hope that these stories have inspired you today to maybe love the people around you a little bit more and given you hope and a positive attitude for the day. That's what we're here for. So thank you so much for listening to the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast. Please subscribe and show that you love our show by leaving us a 5-star review on the podcast platform of your choice. Those reviews really help us out. Say hi and let us know what you think. We'd love to know. Follow us on social media for even more great content, and we'll be back with you for another episode on Monday with Alyssa Joe. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye!
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts, America Still Beautiful podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows. From the GSMC Podcast Network, from social media news to marketing news, and even weird news, the GSMC Podcast Network has you covered. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts, America Still Beautiful podcast.